3 deer stretch across the pavement at this intersection in downtown Seattle. They're indigenous symbols of safe passage. And at Boren and Howell, they're a reminder of the man a Seattle police officer killed here 15 years ago.
Walk sign is on, crossing Boren Avenue. Walk sign is on, crossing Boren Avenue.
Put the knife down!
On August 30th, 2010, Officer Ian Burke fatally shot First Nations woodcarver John T. Williams. This dashcam video shows Williams on the ground with Burke nearby shortly after the shooting. John was carrying a piece of cedar and a small carving knife in his hand, a common tool of the trade. Officer Burke gave John 4 seconds to put the knife away. 4 seconds.
4-point-something seconds to make a decision.
Before ending a life and shattering a family.
What are you, God?
Okay.
Carve with the grain. Oh yeah, I see.
Rick Williams carves every day.
I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. I like I said, I start visiting my grandfather, teaching what I know as a carver.
Teaching carving as a sacred Nuchanoth art form, as a way of expressing First Nations identity at the Tahoma Indian Center.
And that's something I want to teach the students here. It's not about the money, it's about heritage.
These days, Rick lives to carve. But there were days when Rick and his younger brother John carved to live.
We were born into a famous carving family, you know, to share history. It's in the history books that one of my great-grandfathers stood this close to the Queen of England. John was 12 when he first sold his carving to Smithsonian or the museum in England.
All that stopped when John was given 4 seconds to drop his carving knife. People protested the shooting, demanding Officer Burke's resignation and for him to be held responsible. But Rick felt there was too much focus on John's struggles as an unhoused Indigenous man battling alcohol addiction.
I got tired of the way people put my brother down because they believed what the news said, John T's last week of life.
Seattle police officer Ian Burke resigned from the force but never faced criminal charges. At the time, the police department released a photo of Williams's knife open against a ruler. But federal investigation found John's carving knife was actually closed, and he never approached Officer Burke. In 2012, the Seattle Police Department entered a federal consent decree, a court-ordered agreement with the Department of Justice to reform use of force, biased policing, and officer accountability.
I think it's actually getting worse, policing across the country.
Joseph Sia is one of the commissioners of the Seattle's Community Policing Commission. The commission formed as part of the reform effort.
Hearing about the way that he was brutally murdered didn't sit right with me. But I also understand that it's deep-seated racial aggression that this country has against Indigenous people, against Black people, and that continues to show up in the ways that we do policing.
But Sia and the commission say it's time to rely on local powers for change and to leave the federal consent decree behind. A hearing to potentially drop the consent decree is scheduled for next week.
Having Seattle and the Police Commission sort of model what it means to do change locally.
You gotta get right into it here.
At the Seattle Center,
You ready for your next lesson?
under a totem pole's shadow,
I know you didn't come here to whittle.
Rick Williams adjusts to being close to John again.
Been a couple years since I sat here. Oh yeah, I'm home.
Rick installed this totem pole in 2012 as a tribute to his brother.
I usually stand here and I take a look around and see if anybody's watching, and I go like this. Give it a hug. I'm still here, bro.
Carving
Do this cut first, like this.
through the pain of loss.
I hurt. I do miss my brother, but in the world as I see it, I don't want Native art to die in Seattle.
So he lives to carve, to teach.
I'm really proud of these kids.
From brother to brother, now from teacher to student, one cedar chip at a time.
This is our heritage, this is our livelihood, this is the way we grew up. I spent 65 years of my life carving, and I haven't missed a day.
With photojournalist Taylor Schuss for Facing Race, sharing you King 5 News.